We've been following this story for the past few days, and now it's official. Four-star defensive lineman Deontre Robinson has been released from his letter of intent with the Texas Longhorns. So On Three's Gerry Hamilton broke the news. I got him on with us today, and he's made a prediction on where Robinson is headed. We'll also talk some Longhorn transfer portal with Gerry. Let's get it going. But first, Texas fans, make sure you are locked in and subscribed with us. We talk portal, we talk recruiting, and we want you to be a part of it. So hit subscribe for me, please. All right, let's bring on Three national recruiting analyst Gerry Hamilton. Before we get to Deontre Robinson and the news that you broke, we got some portal news to talk about, and that starts with Washington cornerback Jabbar Muhammad. You broke the news about an hour ago that he's on his way to Austin for a visit to Texas. Gerry, what's the latest here with the Longhorns and Muhammad?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think it's a huge visit, obviously. It's going to be the time spent with Steve Sarkisian that's going to be key, and probably defensive coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski as well. Oregon, I think, remains the favorite headed into this visit. He's also scheduled to visit Alabama Friday if he continues on with that process. But I really think this could come down to the conversations with Muhammad and Steve Sarkisian here. Because, look, Texas has a lot of returning talent and experience at the cornerback position. This is a guy who was second-team All-Pac-12 for Washington in 2023. And he's going to come in and be competing with Terrence Brooks. And his cousin, Malik Muhammad, and Gavin Holmes is returning, and there's some talented freshmen coming in. So that conversation, Josh, is going to be huge to see if it satisfies what Muhammad's role and the ability to come in and truly start at Texas would be. I think if all things are equal, he'd prefer to stay close to home, but we'll see if all things are equal.
Yeah, and with Alabama, I mean, do you think this visit happens? They're still leaking superstars into the portal as we speak. Are they really in a position to bring in Muhammad on a visit?
Yeah, well, I think what gives them an opportunity if he makes that visit is, look, with what they've lost, he walks into probably a really good situation at Alabama.
Good point.
That's the flip side to it, right? But you know, Oregon's been on this one a while. Oregon and Texas met with Muhammad and his family in Dallas Saturday. So they have a big head start in this process versus Alabama, even though people are like, well, Kalen DeBoer was his head coach last year. Yeah, well, they got a new defensive backs coach, right? They have a new defensive coordinator, Kane Womack from South Alabama. So there's a lot of new moving parts for Alabama in their quest to recruit Muhammad as well.
Yeah, we'll see if this one even goes through the weekend. We'll see. Now, is Texas in the market for another Bama transfer? This time I'm talking former five-star tight end Amari Niblack. There's been some rumors that Texas might be interested. What are you hearing?
Definitely interested. No doubt about it. He is a guy that is a top target for Texas in the portal, as well as Stanford tight end transfer Ben Urasek, who I believe visited Georgia last weekend, has Texas also on his list. But Niblack, yeah, he's a tremendous fit in the Steve Sarkisian scheme. For those that watched Tavion Sanders and what he did the last couple of years under Steve Sarkisian at Texas, Niblack is a guy who's very much on the top of the board for Texas. We just hit on those two key positions. I mean, look, another defensive back and a tight end's big with Tavion Sanders going to the NFL. I think Texas is one of the very top schools, if not the outright favorite for Niblack.
And no visits scheduled yet? Are we still kind of in this recruitment phase still?
Nothing that's known as of Wednesday, but I believe that news about a visit should be hitting in the next 24 hours.
All right, Texas fans, what a dynamic pass catcher. That would be a really intriguing pickup for that offense. All right, now let's talk about Deontre Robinson. The last time you were on here, you mentioned that it was heading in this direction. That was about 3 or 4 days ago. Now Robinson has been released from his letter of intent with Texas. What went down over the last couple of days?
Yeah, when we did that video, Josh, he had actually requested his release, and I kind of, you know, I was asked to kind of keep that.
It was in the
under
works.
wraps. It was in the works, yeah. But then Texas had to respond to that, and it really got down to this. Look, Deontre picked Florida over Texas at the time, and you can go back and talk, and you can see what his quotes were. It was about Bo Davis. That relationship was really big for him, and that developmental piece is why he picked Texas over Florida. Because, look, there was a lot of confidence on the Florida side going into his decision in July. But he really did pick Texas because of Bo Davis. So I think that was a pretty tough one for Texas to fight. And I think nowadays, Josh, look, right, you can't really fight this. If these kids want releases from their letters, there's a process you have to go through. You at least have to have the conversations, but it's hard to hold these kids to letters anymore.
Yeah, it used to be a situation where every now and again you would hear a team not allowing a prospect out of that letter of intent. Now, I mean, they don't really have a choice because of the transfer portal anyway, so they could enroll and then hit the portal. It's just a big waste of time. If they want out, hey, let them out. Let's use the scholarship elsewhere. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a second, but you put in a prediction this morning. You were the first one to predict him to Florida. When do you think that'll happen?
Yeah, well, look, he's a midterm graduate. So you would expect something to happen later this week for him. If Bo Davis had not gone to LSU, he would have been moving to Austin last Sunday on the 14th. So things are moving really fast for him. He got all his work done to graduate from Jones in December. So he is ready to move on. So I expect something by the end of the weekend at the latest with Deontre Robinson. And look, I put in a prediction for Florida. I stick by that. I've heard nothing to back me off of that.
Okay. Now, from the Texas side of things, do they need to go back to the high school ranks to find another D lineman, or do they kind of take this scholarship, put it in their back pocket, and use it later?
No, they need a defensive lineman because when Bo Davis left, they were the favorite to land Jamari Caldwell, the Houston transfer, who ended up going to Oregon. They need somebody. They'll be looking in the spring. Somebody out of the portal is going to need to give them some key depth. Of course, Texas hasn't hired a defensive line coach yet. So there's a lot of talk that's going to come from the NFL, right? But they haven't hired anybody yet heading into their junior day this weekend. So they don't really have anybody in place yet to go make a visit with an Alex Foster or somebody late here in January. So I think they're going to be looking portal, and I think that'll probably be in the spring.
All right. Well, Gerry Hamilton, a lot of news breaking, whether it be the transfer portal or the high school level. Thank you for dropping by the Inside Scoop, talking some Texas recruiting.
You got it.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.